When you walk in here, it lifts you. I mean, the energy that's in the building and the history that's in the building is just unbelievable.
An embarrassment of riches in history, people that have stayed here.
The grandeur, the scale of the building.
Jaw-dropping, to be honest.
It's like no other hotel, I would say, in the world.
The building is so unique, takes your breath away, really.
It's such a unique building. It's a very unusual building. It's a much-loved building, one of the best Gothic Revival buildings in the world.
It's a five-star lifestyle property that reflects what they're trying to do in the area generally. It is the final piece to the jigsaw. For St Pancras, certainly, because you've got a magnificent station that houses the Eurostar with direct connectivity to Europe.
So it's very architecturally important and artistically important as well.
The thing with this building is it's lay on the horizon of the community as somewhat of a myth over recent years. It's lay dormant, it's been boarded up. The beauty is there for everyone to see outside, but actually inside is where the real stories and romance starts to unfold. So I think it's a really, really important building in its community, but also for London.
I think the building and the detail of the building makes you raise your game. It really does. The detail that Sir Gilbert Scott did with this building and the Gothic design, and it can't help but make you think about excellence. The
most eminent architect in Britain. Scott was really dealing at that time more with cathedrals and churches, so for him to actually come in and deal with the hotel was very unusual. The original details like this roof, you know, put up in 1869, cost £861, 15 shillings and fourpence. Costs us more than that now just for one downpipe, you know.
The windows, every window in the building is designed differently and carved differently. That makes us think about how we present our services and we look after the people that are staying here. We'll have about 500 staff in total, and we've got 2 restaurants, 2 bars, a spa, a swimming pool, gymnasium, treatment rooms. So we try and do what Sir George Gilbert Scott did 138 years ago. We're trying to recreate and do justice to what he did with the building, really.
So there are various touches that pull through the history and the authenticity of the building, whilst also being quite playful and meaning something to the origination of this location.
Probably one of the main features would be the booking office bar. It's actually the most listed part of St Pancras Station. It features an old wooden ticket office where people would buy their tickets, and we've recreated that into probably the best bar in London.
The menu types here in the booking office are very British, very hearty food. So you can get a pork pie originating from Melton Mowbray.
It's incredible. I just love the fact that it's actually now being brought back to life. The bar structure is quite industrial-like, very much like the time of the late 1800s. So I think, you know, that with the design and the natural beauty of the place, trying to keep it in keeping with the building, but also, you know, bring it into the modern world as well.
We have 245 rooms, of which 38 of those rooms are suites, and probably the best suites in London. 8-metre high ceilings, fireplaces in every room, butler service. I mean, the corridors, the height of the corridors, the grandeur of those rooms are just spectacular. And although the Victorian rooms, and they have the Victorian grandeur and the scale of a Victorian room, there is a modern twist there. We've used Victorian colours, but brought very contemporary furnishings and fittings into those rooms. So the latest TV, the biggest TV, internet, but all within a Victorian chamber.
If it was completely restored back to its Victorian glory, we'd get very few people in here because actually the Victorian style was very heavy and overbearing. So getting the blend right, getting the mix right is very much a matter of experiment, and in areas like this, for instance, they've got it, I think they've got it perfect.
Always, in a Grade 1 listed building, there's always going to be challenges, but the challenges are basically don't drill through to the walls and don't knock things around, respect the place. And fitting a kitchen was tough, but we've worked and moulded the kitchen around the building, so putting the kitchen in was like fitting a beautiful engine into an old place. So it was, yeah, modern day engine in a vintage car.
And English Heritage have been fully involved in this, so to a certain extent there are areas of the building that are like a museum that people just want to walk into and look round. They have an interest in its authenticity, its history, its origination, such a legend in the area really.
Yeah, the building did play a massive part on what I wanted to do here, because the building is British. The only thing you can do here is a British restaurant, and British restaurants are brasseries. So from the late 1800s to the present day, sieving through all old cookbooks, recipes and ideas and bringing them to life again. Queen Anne's artichoke tart. But we've carried that forward with modern day cookery to make it better than yesterday, but using the same ingredients really. That's London.
Quite often people say, St Pancras, why St Pancras? But actually you don't need to leave this building. You can stay here for a week exploring the building, and there's just so much to do in the building and see, and the history, and bring the history alive. Every day, I've been here nearly 1 year now, every day I notice something new. I discover a new little hidden gem that I didn't know before. It's amazing.
And they've done a really good job on bringing back this building back to life again, and of course that's the most important thing with any building, is that it works for people, because without people building means nothing. And
many people will know the film, the hotel for the films that were made here, Harry Potter, Batman Begins. It just is such a spectacular backdrop, and now that we're open as a hotel, for continuity a lot of people want to get back into the building if they're making a remake of that film. But it's just just a splendid backdrop for whatever the event, whether it be a movie launch, for filming, for fashion shows, and we're just finding that London's elite are trying to get in here and are trying to use our hotel. It's an honour.
We've worked and trained to get this building ready, and the day we opened the doors was the curtain went up, the lights were on, and it was action. So my favourite moment is the doorman put his glass of champagne down on the desk, went to the door and said, "Here I am."